everyone, Jeff Exline in the Digital Content Center with a check of your weather forecast on this Tuesday. It's been a while since I've done one of these. As going back to we're getting Emma Keegan ready for on air. We're training her, and then last week I was on vacation, so sorry that I haven't been on digitally, I guess. Been on TV here yesterday and today, but trying to get back on the horse when it comes to the 11 o'clock update. So let's take a look at what to expect here when it comes to our weather. The weather pretty quiet this week after hot weather last week. It cooled down late last week, and now we're nice and comfortable. The comfortable weather will continue for a couple more days, and then it gets hot again for the upcoming weekend. So here's a look at what we can expect. Highs around 83, lows around 63. Calling that seasonal because that's an average high and an average low. So nothing out of the ordinary here. I guess one thing that is a little bit out of the ordinary, however, this time of year, we typically are dry, and we can go through these long stretches in August where we don't see a whole lot of rain. So little to no rain in the forecast here. And what I'll show you graphically, what can easily be our longest stretch of dry weather for the summer, and also maybe even for the year. I'll show you some of those long stretches of no precipitation that we experienced this year. A warm up is coming as it gets hotter and more humid over the upcoming weekend. So that's the big bullet points of what we're tracking. Also take a look into the tropics, show you what's going on there. Some cloud cover in the sky, beautiful looking sky this morning. Just watching those clouds dance across sky. Oh, look at that. We got a visitor too with a a little bug right on the screen. What was that, a wasp or something? You know what I've noticed too, what are those bugs? Not the stink bugs, but the other guys, the spotted lanternflies. Is that what they are? Yeah, they're out again. Oh man, temperatures in the 70s right now across much of the area, and we'll be warming up into the low 80s this afternoon. There's our friend. Dew points not terribly bad, up a little bit compared to yesterday, but not nothing too humid. Typically, you look at the dew point. That's what that measure is on the screen there. Dew points measure moisture in the atmosphere. So the higher the value, the more uncomfortable it is, the more moisture there is in the atmosphere. And dew points of late have been in the 50s. Now they're creeping into the upper 50s, near 60. Typically the threshold in the summertime, once we start getting dew points over 60, it starts to become a little bit humid, but nothing, you look at this muggy meter, nothing in that instant sweat category moving forward. Now we'll start to get more humid this weekend, especially Sunday, and then early next week. Notice how we're sort of entrenched in a muggy air mass by that point, but kind of pleasant to a bit humid next several days, and then becoming a steamier for Sunday and early next week. Could be talking about highs around 90 again during that time frame. Look at the European model rainfall. And not a lot showing up. Slim pickings here, 0.01 showing up for today. There's just a slight chance of a sprinkle or a light rain shower today. So let's take a look at these stats of no measurable precipitation. Meteorologist Nathan Shutt gathered these last evening and shared them with me. So this is at the Ohio County Airport. So of course it can differ from one location to another, but basically from August 1st through the 5th, we've been dry. We're expecting that to at least be through the 7th. And if we stay dry through next Monday, we would be right up there with our longest stretch of the year, which would be 11 days. And that occurred in late January, from January 20th through January the 30th. So there is a decent chance that, a lot of state places stay dry through early next week. And this would be the longest stretch of dry weather of the year. You go back to late January, we saw late February as well. There's late January and February ones. Not too many people probably remember because it was cold. But as you head into March and then April, we saw a nice 10-day stretch without any rain there in April. And this one should be at least 7, maybe as high as 11 days when it's all said and done. There's the clouds, which I showed you on the time lapse, is rolling through the area right now. So a partly cloudy sky. Nothing really showing up on those clouds for the most part. Look closely, though, there are a couple of sprinkles. I was talking about, maybe a light rain shower for someone. A mainly dry forecast, but a isolated sprinkle or shower can't be totally ruled out. So let's show you, put a little loop here on the radar. So that's these are moving towards the north. So a lot of that in Washington County, Pennsylvania. But just to show you that there's a couple blips here into Marshall County as well. So, a sprinkle, a light rain shower can't be totally ruled out today in a few places, but most areas, as you can see, aren't going to really experience a whole lot of rain. Where is there more rain? Well, it must be a bad satellite imagery frame in there. I apologize, but over towards the Indiana-Ohio border, and then across Virginia. And notice our local area sort of sits in between both of those weather features. So for that reason, not expecting a whole lot of rain, with bulk of the rain here over the next 48 hours staying to our southeast and also to our west. So we're sort of, it's like the old 7-10 split in bowling, where the rain sort of misses us in two different directions and we stay largely dry, courtesy of an area of high pressure, which will keep us mainly dry, it looks like, over the course of the next few days, although we'll be heading up into New England. No major weather features headed our way. And this is kind of common in August. We can go through stretches like this, and even into fall, into September, where you get long stretches without much rain around here. Especially, this time of year, the jet stream just is way to our north, and there's, not too many systems affecting the area. And of course, that changes later in fall and into winter as the jet stream strengthens and we see more widespread precipitation. High temperatures the next few days. Talked about how it's like a copy paste kind of forecast. 83 today, 83 Wednesday, 83 on Thursday. So low 80s for highs. Low temperatures tonight will be in the low 60s today, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday up to 85, and then 87 your high on Saturday. Getting hotter, more humid over the weekend, especially Sunday, and then into early next week. Monday, Tuesday could have a heat wave on our hands with maybe 3 days with highs around 90 degrees again. And then sometime next week, either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in that time frame, later next week, there'll probably be a frontal system that can enhance some rain chances by then. But up until then, I think rain is going to be slim pickings, a small threat of an isolated shower or sprinkle out there today. Otherwise, just a very quiet looking forecast over the next few days. Well, I wanted to give you a look at the tropics, which are starting to get a little bit more active, and that a couple of features on here to take a look at. This is Tropical Storm Dexter, which is centered right there. You can see that swirl of clouds. Now, this is moving away from the United States mainland. This area of concern near the Carolinas for the 50% chance of development of a tropical system here off the coast of the Carolinas. And then this wave coming off of the African coast can develop into something in the next several days. So 2 areas to watch, one off the coast of the Carolinas for some development, and then this other wave way out there in the Atlantic Ocean. And there is Tropical Storm Dexter. But as I mentioned, Tropical Storm Dexter will not have an impact on the United States weather as it's moving out across the Atlantic, moving away from the United States. So that's just a quick check-in of the tropics, since our weather here is pretty quiet. And Hans Fisher says, Jeff, don't make it hot. There you go. I don't make it hot. The weather makes it hot, Hans. But it does look like it will be getting hot again. And Carol says, OMG, another one. I guess that's referring to the hot weather. Yeah, it's still August, my friends. Everyone always rushes the seasons here, but it is still August, and it still can be hot. When we get into September and October, things will start to cool down, but it's August and it'll get hot again. And that can be somewhat expected. Also, these stretches of dry weather can be expected this time of year as well. So there you go. Another thing can be expected. This graphic's probably going to be a little bit dated, but I brought this up yesterday. And that a little off because it was yesterday's sunrise, off by a day basically. But you could see how, next 20 days our sunsets are going to get earlier, around 8 o'clock. Sunset today is around 8:30, and then around 8 o'clock, 20 days from now, a couple weeks from now, and then early in September, it's before 8 o'clock. So, yeah, daylight's shrinking. So, daylight shrinking for those of you like cooler weather. When the daylight starts shrinking, as you head into September, things start to cool down. It's still warm weather. I mean, September is one of my favorite months of the year. August is still can be hot at times, as we'll be seeing here over the course of the next 10 days, but rather pleasant now, not too hot, not too humid, but that will be changing over the weekend. And as we head into early next week, looking at some of the long range prognostications here in terms of extended forecast in the long range, an 8 to 14 day, still featuring above normal temperatures across much of the country, mind you. And this has been skewed a lot, mainly because of our low temperatures been incredibly high because of all the humidity that's been around this summer. It's been a very humid summer, and that really keeps our temperatures at night from falling a lot. Now, we've seen some cooler mornings here of late, but when you increase that humidity, it can't get that cool at night. And also in terms of precipitation, while it is dry now, we may see an uptick in that long range August 12th through the 18th timeframe as a front moves into the East Coast. So dry now outside of an isolated sprinkle or shower today, and really the next, several days looking fairly dry through the weekend and probably even on Monday. But then after that, we may start to see some rain chances return out there. Okay. And just one more look at the radar just to show you that there are a few showers. Just if you look closely, see them mainly over Washington County, maybe here, one into Brooke County, just to the east of Wellsburg, near Brook Hills Park. Maybe a little sprinkle there, but not a lot of rain. A sprinkle can't be ruled out. One's near Moundsville. It's like a spritz. Like an Aperol spritz, a little spritz. But most of the area not seeing rain. So small threat, you get hit with a light shower, sprinkle spritz today. Most of us probably won't see much in the way of rain. And dry pattern continues. Comfortable now for the most part, low 80s for highs, lows in the low 60s. And then it gets hotter, more humid over the weekend and early next week, especially Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We dial up some high temperatures up around 90 degrees. So there you go. That's all I have for you on a Tuesday. Hopefully you're having a great Tuesday. I'm getting back in the swing of things after vacation last week. So it's always rough when you get back from vacation. It's rough going back to the grind, but we had a good vacation. So that's all that counts. But lots of memories will last always, right? Okay. So pretty quiet weather. I like that. I like some quiet weather as I come back and settle down with some things. So the weather looks very quiet here over the next week with limited opportunities for rain. Lawns, gardens, give those gardens a drink if you can. They'll need it here with a lack of rain coming our way. And you don't have to cut the grass as much, but that happens this time of year. Okay, everyone, have a great Tuesday. I'll see you on News 9 midday.